dear Nikki. We're watching Too Fancy, Too Furious, a wine video by internet historian who's going to teach us. He's been teaching us about fancy stuff and culture for us country bumpkins.
Yeah,
To be all
I don't know anything about that.
Swanky and fancy. It's important.
Yeah, I mean, I've tried a lot of different wines, and I really only ever liked Roscato and Moscato. All the other, just a red table wine is fine with me, but like the stuff that's like super bitter and stuff, like I'm not, no, don't like it.
I drink alcohol for one main reason when I drink it, and that is to become intoxicated. And I've found that the buzz from wine ain't worth it.
It makes me feel like shit.
If I drink enough wine to get lit, the next day I'm feeling like shit.
Yeah.
That's the end of it.
And like with my health problems, wine is just not worth it because it just makes me feel like so bad. And there's this thing that you can buy to put in wine to take the, I can't remember what it is that makes you feel so bad. It's like maybe some kind of additive or something, and it takes it out. And like any other time I would be able to tell you all about it, but right now I can't.
No.
Anyway.
It doesn't sound like any kind of witchcraft I'm interested in. God crafted White Claw hard seltzer, and I've never turned back when it comes to a cool, crisp, refreshing beverage that also gets you turned.
High noons are better.
In shittier countries than America, like the UK where Jake is from, you can't get White Claw.
What?
Yes, there's plenty of places in the world that don't get 40.
I told you it was never gonna work.
All right. I shall return.
Like, what are you even gonna do? Put him actually.
Go.
Oh, womp womp. I'm gonna look that up real quick because it's gonna kill me.
What are you looking up?
Hold on. Hi, Ariel.
All right. I'm gonna have to end up like prying that door shut.
Are you kidding me?
What?
I really can't find what I'm looking for right now. It's gonna kill me.
Made that shit up.
No! Sulfites!
Sulfates?
No.
Sulfites.
And histamines, which is the thing that makes like when you're allergic to something, your histamines go crazy, which is what my shit does. But like you put this like device in it, and it's supposed to remove all of that, which I just don't know how. And it's like, fuck it, I'm not gonna drink it.
Yeah.
I'll just drink something that I can drink.
Internet historian has taken us down a cultural adventure, down an uncharted path where the snobbish elite want to keep all these really important things to know to themselves. Well, he has guided us absolute savages to...
You say this, and it's like, my grandfather, who is like as redneck as they come, makes his own wine.
Yeah, but
my
is
brother
it wine that is culture?
Made wine.
But is it cultured?
It's definitely
wine?
not cultured. It's definitely not cultured.
Is it fancy?
It's toilet wine.
See, that's like some prison shit. Too Fancy, Too Furious. Wine by internet historian. Let's get into it.
All right.
Come here, little fella. I want to tell you a secret. I'm just like you.
I believe it.
We're both down here in the dirt. Mine just happens to be imported.
Oh, yeah.
You are fighting in traffic. and I am fighting charges of trafficking. We're so similar. You're working a 9-to-5 job, and I am having to look at that. We're both going through it. So don't hate me. I'm not the problem. It's the wine snobs. They're the ones that look down on you.
Makes sense.
And frankly, I don't blame them. No, he's learning. Listen, let me pull you up by your bootstraps. What if I made you my little Pygmalion? That's a reference that you wouldn't get. You know what? Perhaps I shall make a series of videos that will give you some sort of clue about fancy things. Yes, that's what I'll do. Something to give you just enough information to bluff your way through a fancy dinner.
Did you know that Da Vinci painted the Mona Lisa?
Somebody had to hold open the gates for the barbarians. Why not me? So let's do it. Let's look at wine. The Mountain Dew of upper society.
Yes.
With wine, there is only one rule. Kill or be killed.
Wait, what?
And if you want to survive the night, here are 6 things you should know about wine. To you muggles, the words on these bottles must seem like a mystery.
Pie not no ire?
But us landlords, we, the pink Himalayan salt of the earth, we know what they mean. They are grape names. Look upon this grapevine. It makes grape berries. Now, there are many different species of grape berry. And whatever the berry species is will determine the type of wine. This is Chardonnay, so it will make Chardonnay. Merlot grapes, they make Merlot wine. Grape names are mostly French. Gross. But for example, in English, Pinot Noir means black pine, because it kinda looks like a black pine cone, if you squint.
Kind of.
Here's some of the other names. You can pause it. I'm busy. Wine grapes are not like the kind you get at the supermarket. Those are table grapes. You can think of it kind of like the difference between cooking chocolate and regular chocolate.
You can't really eat that.
You can eat them.
Yeah.
Ugh.
They're
But they're
horrible.
overly sugary and kind of full of seeds and just not as nice to snack on. So the grape type is the main word on the bottle. But sometimes there are other words as well.
Oh no.
For example, this Bourgogne. What the hell is a Chablis? It's all regions. Allow me to explain. Through the medium of song.
Oh God. Song.
There's Chianti and Piedmont, also there's Burgundy. Don't forget Chablis Bordeaux. This one's from Italy, this one's from Italy, this one's from France, this one's from France, this one's from France, this one's from France. They're all from France. We're Italy. Look, the general rule is, if you see a term you don't understand, it's probably just the French or the Italians being all la-dee-da about their particular region. All right, let's move on to price. Come on, I know a place. We're here. I can tell by the name on the sign.
Pretty cool.
Now, don't embarrass me, I didn't bring my ID. Fiddle-tee-dee, look at all these bottles. So many options. Ooh, a cheeky $200 bottle. And here, a $20 bottle.
Oh no.
Now, I bet this $200 bottle tastes way better, right? Like it's got to be 10 times better than this one. That's just basic math. Go on, though. You choose one. Oh, no.
Choose.
Well, it was supposed to be a trick question, but they both taste pretty similar, right? There's not some threshold that you get to where it gets more expensive, and then it tastes better, and then more expensive again, and it tastes even better, until it gets so expensive and so incredible that it's like nothing you've ever had before. Break through the conditioning.
Damn.
This is just old grape juice. Now, if you're a little bi-curious
old grape juice.
about a more expensive bottle, sure, why not?
Gold letters grace the label, hand engraved by goldsmiths. Famed wine critics described the taste as mind-boggling.
But realistically, after about $60, the flavor doesn't get much better. In fact, it plateaus out and it can even go down. The best quality to price
Source,
ratio
I made
is
it up.
all the way over here, much lower. About $20. That's how much you should spend on a bottle of wine. Now, some people will say
that I'm putting my heart and soul into this thing. I'm making a form of art. How much is that worth? How much is art worth?
about $20. But what about the Vintage?
Vintage.
Well, look at this. A couple of cromulent slender necks. And they're the same price as well. But this one is from 2019, and this one is from 2022. Well, surely the older one is the better one, right? No. Many people think that the wine aging goes like
I've always
this.
heard that.
And the flavor just keeps getting better over time. The wine at the store has already been aged at the winery. I don't need to be more aged by sitting on this shelf and just collecting dust, or spending years at the back of your pantry at home. If I'm for sale, I'm ready to be consumed. I'm ready to have your hot lips wrapped around me. In fact, the general rule goes a corked bottle should be drunk within 5 years, and a capped bottle within 1 year.
What?
Come, there's more. Let's pretend I am a waiter at a restaurant. You happen to be wearing a shirt, and so I have mistaken you as a paying customer. As a waiter, the first thing I will press you about will be food pairings. White wine with fish? A Merlot with pork? Well, kid, I'm gonna have to pair this truth nugget with something you don't want to hear.
Oh.
The food pairing doesn't really matter. It's all completely subjective.
Of course.
It's cuisine by horoscope. It's food astrology. Pay no attention to the sommeliers in the comment section. They are bullshitting to upsell.
Get the more expensive one. It goes better with the spaghetti.
Or they are a Pisces and you shouldn't trust their opinion anyway. Something else to expect at a restaurant? Expect to get ripped off by the markup. Most restaurants
For
have
sure.
a 250
Alcohol.
to 300% markup on their wine. And the cheaper the bottle, the higher the proportional markup tends to be. So a $20 bottle will turn into an $80 bottle, but a $100 bottle may only rise to $150. Most people get the second cheapest bottle on the menu, regardless of the pairing, and that'll do just fine. And that's it, no more tips. Unless you want to leave me one. Actually, you know what? I got a fucking tip for you, mate. Ad time.
Oh.
I bet you're wondering how I got this cog in my knee.
Oh my god.
That's because I became the face of Incogni, the service that helps you be
Incogni.
forgotten on the internet. I used to be a humble florist. One day we received a shipment of forget-me-nots. But inexplicably I fell in and ate a bunch of them. I forgot everything that day. My
my
address, my web browsing habits, where I worked,
How
what my
ridiculous.
child's face looked like. I was supposed to pick him up from daycare, so that was kind of embarrassing. I just picked one of the kids that kind of looks like me. Close enough. Have you ever signed up for some dodgy website? Have you ever dodged up for a legitimate website and they sell all your details onto a dodgy website? That's where I come in. Incogni man. And Anonymous. There are data miners out there, data collectors, creating big servers all around the world. They take your name, your address, and your IP, and together they make a big profile, and that lives forever. I am here to send them annoying legal notices to tell them to fuck off. Take Steve off your database. European law this, American law that. Go to incogni.com/internet to get 60% off an annual plan. The cog signal. I swoop into the data centers. Legal notice. Tangle up their processes with admin. Who are you? I don't know.
I don't know.
Oh, wait a minute. Inganokni Nam. Go to incogni.com/internet historian. Ah, Incogni man. Remember me? Yes.
Oh shit.
No. Who's the kid?
Je suis très affamé, monsieur, s'il vous plaît.
Whoa, that's a good deal. Ad over. Welcome to the Wine Underground.
Wow.
We have our meetings here because it stays at a very pleasant temperature. You know, us wine masons, we control everything. We are few, but many. That doesn't make sense. Look at the back of this bottle. See the No Fat Chicks logo? We put that there. It is the symbol of our organization. We have a dirty finger in every glass of government and corporation stuff. If you cross us, whoops, perhaps you'll have a little
I hate
accident.
those videos.
Last year, Little Upstart tried to make wine actually taste good. You know, like how grape soda does. Cut him up so good he had to get stitches. We caught one reporter trying to dig around into our operations. We all know how that one
Oh
ended.
no.
With
They're
an
gonna do the
airstrike.
sound.
All right, my little juice box. I'm going to let you in on a secret. Why is champagne called champagne? Well, I'll tell you. It all began in 1668. In the Abbey of St. Peter in northeast France, there's something spooky going on. It's springtime, and in the cellar where they keep all the wine, bottles would suddenly, unexpectedly, explode. Now, this was especially common during morning mass. Ho ho, that's a bad omen. Sometimes the explosions would cause little chain reactions, and bottle after bottle would break down the line, ruining the majority of the crop. The peasants were frightened and also parched.
Sacre Bleu, lay wine. What is happening?
The monks would refer to this as the devil's wine.
Les wine is cursed.
Le God, he must be anger at us. We need a hero.
In walks Dom Perignon. He is just the man for the job. A Benedictine monk at the abbey, he's got a new role, the cellar master. And it's his mission to find out what the hell is going on here. So Dom starts looking at all the bottles. And what he figures out pretty quickly is that the wine itself is releasing gas. The gas builds up pressure and... why that is happening, he doesn't know. But it's his job to stop it. So he gets to work, trying all sorts of things to stop his mortal enemy. The bubbles. In the first year, he tried insisting that only the youngest grapes be picked.
Perhaps this will stop your bubbles.
And it didn't. The next year, he changed up how the grapes were pressed.
Push harder, we'll squeeze out the bubbles.
Son of a bitch. He tried picking the grapes very early in the morning and no other time. Nope. And on and on. The bubbles would win the battle every year. For 8 long years, he tried all sorts of different things. And no strategy worked. No, the bubbles. Eventually, he was at the point of almost giving up. Until one day, hey, what if the wine is still fermenting? So he takes a couple of the bottles and he opens them and, it is. We ferment the wine. Once it's done, it goes into the bottle. How does it then start fermenting again? How is that possible? And here the mystery was solved. So it turns out in North France they have very fast changing seasons. And owing to that, the yeast doesn't actually get time to do its job. Instead, it would get cold very quickly in the winter and all the yeast would go dormant. Then the winemakers would go, oh brilliant, fermentation slowed down, it must be done. They would then bottle it and they would store it. But once summer came back around, the process would spring back to life and carbon dioxide would build up and... Okay, he thinks, I cannot change the climate. Perhaps I shall not win the war against the bubbles. Now, the bubbles are his enemy and he has another enemy. The English. Therefore, the enemy of his enemy or something. Anyway, he starts talking to the English and he goes, hey, how do you guys stop your bottles from exploding? And the British go,
You what, mate? Cool. We'll peep at how thin the bloody glass be in it. Thin glass is the problem. Thank you for using this text-to-speech preview. For a paid version, please go to...
See, the English have created new coal-fired bottles with much thicker glass. Then they put a cork in the top and it allows them to make very foamy beer. That's right, he could just use thicker bottles and he won't have to worry about stopping the bubbles at all. So Dom goes running back to France. He's panting, he's sweating, and there's bits of brie on his shirt. He's going, better bottles, better bottles. Everyone's confused and terrified, but they give it a shot. And there it was. The people of France loved it.
I love this new style.
Even the French royals were enjoying new wine, TM. He even started adding extra yeast and sugar to really get the bubbles going. And so Dom Perignon had created what we call today champagne. Now, there's a 19th century marketing campaign that says the moment he uncorked his champagne for the first time, he tried it and said, come quickly, I am tasting the stars. But that's actually a myth. He never really said that. But there's still a problem. And this one, Dom cannot fix. The pulp. If you bottle wine while it's still fermenting, so that you can keep the bubbles in, you're also trapping in a bunch of dead yeast and debris and gross particles too. Also, it's all cloudy. No, we want it clear. We want it crystal looking. How will we ever solve this problem? Dom dies. 1805, in walks Madame Clicquot. She's just the man for the job.
I'm also French. I have come to remove all the little beets. I will clench my teeth together and go pitu back into the bottle.
Now, Madame Clicquot was a very shrewd lady. Her husband died when she was in her early 20s.
My husband is dead. Lol.
And part of the estate she was bequeathed included a winery. She immediately got to work, making it into a successful business.
I shall invent a process called lay riddling.
Here's what you do, right? You put these bottles on a rack at a 35-degree angle with the top facing down. Every 2 days, she would give the bottle a little shake and slightly increase the angle. After 8 to 10 weeks, all of the sediment would come to rest in the neck of the bottle.
Ew.
All right, quick tangent. Did you know that when you increase the salt concentration in water, you can drop its temperature down much lower without it freezing? Tangent over. So she takes this sub-zero salt water and dips the neck of the bottle in there, then lets it sit until the neck freezes. Now you have a sort of frozen cork filled with all of the gross pulp, and then you simply pop off the top. And the whole thing goes shooting out as a fun prank for your friends and family. Then they add in a little more extra base wine and sugar and leave it to age. And with that, Clicquot has just created a clear, sparkling wine. And that is Ridley. And Madame Clicquot is...
the Riddler.
So Dom Perignon and Madame Clicquot are both credited as the godfather and godmother of champagne. Today, the Dom and Clique brands are owned by LVMH, the same parent company that owns Louis Vuitton, Tag Heuer, Tiffany & Co., Hennessy. Actually, pretty much every luxury brand. But why is it called champagne? Well, that's because it comes from the Champagne region, you dummy. And anything else with bubbles is just sparkling wine.
Now you know, Nikki. Now you know. Do you feel educated?
Oh, it's you. I was just looking out over the sunset. You know how it is. Thinking about stuff that happened in the past. I remember it all too well. It was literally 1984. I was walking home with my parents from the opera.
Come on, keep up. We're nearly there.
Oh,
Hey,
no.
Let's take a little shortcut, they said.
We can cut through here.
We were walking down a well-lit alleyway. It was nothing but quaint restaurants and bistros.
You know, I didn't actually know this until
Then
like 3
suddenly,
years ago.
a man holding a bottle of Shiraz came out of nowhere. Just a tipple, he said. I was terrified. I knew nothing about wine. Go on, he said. My hands were shaking, knees weak, arms heavy. Complex aroma, wouldn't you say?
Complex aroma.
Very good tannins. Oh, really? Yep. What's a tannin? I don't know. My parents died from embarrassment right there on the spot.
I'm sorry, Daddy.
Just a tipple. It's too late for me. But I don't want the same thing to happen to you. That's why we have to learn about how to serve wine.
You working at a
So you bought a
restaurant
bottle
serving
of wine
wine?
to show your friends and family how successful and sophisticated you are. Did you know that Da Vinci painted the Mona Lisa? So let's go through how to serve the big three. White, red, and champagne. Let's say you've bought champagne.
Oh no. Oh.
That bottle goes in the fridge. Champagne is served cold always. To open, peel off the foil and do not aim it at your face. Then twist off the metal thing. If you want people to think you're fancy, use the proper word, muselet.
Muselet.
It helps to contain the pressure. Again, don't aim this thing at your face. It's really worth repeating. The PSI inside a champagne bottle is 70 to 90. That puts it in the same league as a nail gun. So the cork comes out at about 50 miles an hour. And if you're in a house, you want to hold onto it very firmly with your hand. If you're Bezos, or you just won the Grand Prix, fling it over some ladies. But if you want to be really fancy, you can use a sword.
I always thought that was pretty
This
cool.
has been a tradition for a couple hundred years, popularized by Napoleon. After each victory, the army would use their sabers to crack one open for the boys. But the sword's just ceremonial. You can use pretty much any blunt object to knock off the top. A phone, a shoe, this fish head.
Okay.
If it's cold, it shouldn't fizz over too much, but you might want to have someone on the side with a ready glass. The glass type should either be a tulip or a flute. Although, if you've seen The Great Gatsby, you may notice that they use these. Up until the mid-1900s, people used coupes. That's because, back in the day, excessive effervescence wasn't very cool. So these cups helped actually dispel the bubbles faster. In fact, sometimes they'd even use a small whisk or a fork to dissipate all the bubbles. Now, there's actually an old myth that the shape and size of the coupe was molded from one of Marie Antoinette's boobos. But it's probably not true. Eventually, bubbles became a fancy feature, so the flute was adopted. They can be made from glass, but preferably they're made from crystal, so that they shimmer as much as possible. And the best flutes would also feature a small rough spot right there at the center of the glass at the bottom to create a sort of tornado of bubbles. Anyway, as you pour, tilt sideways so it isn't all head, and don't pour more than 2/3 full. Done. White wine. White wine is best served chilled too. 10 to 15 degrees though, not fridge cold. Use a small glass bowl and pour to about half full. And when you drink, do a little sniff test and, aerate it a bit. Then hold it down low on the stem so your hands don't heat up the liquid. If it's not to your taste, cut it with 50% Sprite and add a few ice cubes. Done. Reds. Red wine is not chilled. It is served at room temperature. When you first open it, you're supposed to let it sit for a while to oxidize. That gives it more flavor. Although if you don't want to wait, you can just pour it into a decanter. That does the same thing. To drink from, we want a big bowl on a stick, so you get a full face of the aromas of the grape blood. When you pour the thing, fill it about 1/3 full. That's pretty much it.
A third.
However, when it comes to wine snobbery, red wine snobbery is at the top of the Maslow hierarchy.
Crushed white rock. It's like almost like a rock quarry.
Oh my god, shut up. And there's a taste testing thing that people do, and they all go a bit mental, and it's kind of gross, and it looks dumb. But if you think you're ready for the ultimate test, ready to take the one-chip challenge of enology, then here's how you do it. When the waiter comes over, insist on taking a teensy sample. Inspect for color, clarity, and legs. Legs refers to how viscous the wine is. Smell it. Smells like a red wine. Swirl it around on the table, making a loud scratching noise so that everyone knows you're a connoisseur.
Swirling the wine glass is almost like turning up the volume on the stereo.
When you taste it, you're supposed to get it over every part of your mouth, so that when you brush your teeth later, it's awful. Then take in big sips of air This is where you comment on the texture and taste. Complex notes! You yell across the room. Now this is the best part. You can just make shit up about vanilla smatterings or citrusy undercurrents. I swear, there's a hint of blueberry. It's one of those things that's kinda true, but subjective enough that no one can really refute you. So make a big show of it.
There is a little bit of an earthiness, almost a graphite clay note to this.
It's a little bit meaty, it's a little bit sort of rustic.
There are definitely hints here of Monster Ultra sugar-free. If this is a taste test and you're sampling dozens of wines, you want to spit out the sample into this gross bucket so you don't get too drunk. Do not ask the waiter if you can drink from the bucket. It's the waiter's privilege, and he's very protective of it. And that is how to serve wine. Okay, that's a lot of shitting on wine, people.
And we shouldn't get bullied.
But let me do a quick 180. Because overall, wine is good. And a little wine snobbery can be good also. Being into wine is one of the great dad hobbies. One day you will have a model train set in your basement, complete with a little walking path and the grass just right.
Beautiful.
The best part about this hobby is building the thing, getting it just perfect, and then making people sit there while you explain the little trains in excruciating detail of how they work. Now the fun of Warhammer, that's when you save up for the little Space Marine man, you take him out of the packet, you put on a podcast with some Warhammer in the background.
Of all the Primarchs, Horus is the best kisser.
And you slowly paint it yourself. And then you argue with your mates later about why the Necrophiles are the best race. There are people that spend like tens of thousands of dollars on coffee machines and equipment. And then it takes like an hour to make a coffee. And it's like only 5% better, maybe, than the ones you get at the cafe. Now, I could be Mr. Killjoy and come in and go, what's the point of that? Why not just buy it from the cafe? Why not just get a pre-painted Space Marine? Why not have someone else just install the train set? But then there's no ceremony, there's no fun, there's no hobby. Wine is very similar. The getting a little bit too obsessive about the thing and being like...
Some lemon zest as well, lemon pith. Super tangy.
Is the purpose of wine. It's the fun of wine, which is why wine is better than just some old grape juice. And you fucking wine loser snobs, you know what? You're all right.
Damn.
And that's about it. There's just one last thing left. The practical. Come on, my little nouveau biche. I booked out a whole restaurant. They serve some of the best blue whale caviar here. All right, you did it. You sat through the whole video without crying. I think this calls for a toast.
Oh, no.
Steady now. Whoop.
Not what I thought was going to happen.
Oh
my God.
But it's okay. I feel like we're becoming close friends who can keep secrets and stuff.
Uh-huh.
And because we're such close friends, I'm going to keep teaching you things. That's right. You're going to be just like me.
No.
I just cannot tell which of this is blood and which wine. By the way, this is the second video. If you haven't seen the first one, which is on Fancy at the Theatre, go look at it over here. But there's also Fancy, the Arts, on Incognito. That's already live. And there's the next Incognito on its way. Do not forget story mode. Do not forget incogni. And do not forget to dream.
To dream. This video was great. I really enjoyed the opening bit about wine being like rich people Mountain Dew. I thought that was so funny.
Wait, no. This is the thing. Thank you for saying that, because hi, buddy.
Here comes lunch.
Wow. Goodness. He loves when we sit here.
Yeah.
What was it? There was a trend that I saw on TikTok, and you take, and I can't get with it. You take half red wine, I don't know what kind they were using, and half Mountain Dew. And people are like, this cannot be real. I think I sent it to you. and somebody tried it, and I don't know if they were being genuine or not, but they said it was delicious. And I'm like, listen, wasn't Mountain Dew made like very close to us? Or was that Pepsi? I think it's Mountain Dew was made.
Oh yeah, in Tennessee, around our area.
Yeah.
You were supposed to use it to take medicine or mix it with whiskey.
Oh really?
Yeah, it was made as a mixer. Nobody was just straight drinking soda back in the day. Soda shops used to be candy shops.
Yeah.
Now a motherfucker's over here with a large Coke and a large,
I thought about earlier if Jake and Nino, our mods who are not from the U.S., visited us one day, it would be so funny to take them to a Sonic to get a Route 44.
Oh, yeah.
Because a Route 44 drink is literally like this big.
Diabetes.
Or like a big gulp. I don't know. We don't have 7-Elevens.
Bunch of diabetes.
Yeah, wine. I
don't like it. I do not like wine.
Peasant.
I don't give a fuck. You can say what you want to about it. I'm gonna drink whiskey. I'm gonna drink beverages that are not giving me massive hangovers, like some
you get
beers.
Really bad headaches whenever you drink wine.
I just have to be really careful what alcohol I drink.
Same. Before I even knew that I had health issues, there's one time when I was a waitress in college, and I got off work, had a horrible day, had a horrible shift, and I took a shot of tequila.
I remember this day.
And I came home.
Sick as fuck.
Well, I got home. And I had just like red hives all down my back because I have issues with my mast cells. So yeah, wine is a no-go. I used to buy it quite a bit. Like when we first started dating, I would bring wine to your house. Yeah. And there's been several times, there's even a short on my channel of when we have problems opening wine bottles. So like the last time was probably the best. And Chad like screwed in
a screw used a hammer
but
to
it
pry
worked.
it open. Yeah. But yeah, dude, like wine is just not my thing. And whenever I was like younger, when I shouldn't have been drinking, Boone's Farm.
Oh yeah, no.
Wild Irish Rose.
Ew.
And
I never had
Mad Dog and all that shit.
Mad Dog. It's not wine, but yes.
We would be sneaking our way into getting a hold of some of that shit and getting fucked up on it and everything, but God, I wish we hadn't. There's so many times, and Nate can speak to this, where I chugged 2 big ass bottles of Mad Dog 2020 and just projectile vomited all over his front yard. His neighbor came out, "What the hell's going on?" I said, "Get the fuck back in your house, you stupid bitch."
Chad!
Dude, I was
hammered.
Ask Nate.
That's awful.
I was
You should
hammered.
If that lady is still
all
alive,
100.
you should go
I don't
apologize.
know. What do you mean? This was forever ago. This is back when Nate and I were just like 18 and 19 years old. And
18 years old acting like that, you damn idiot.
Probably weighed 160 pounds.
She should have whipped your ass.
She could have whipped my ass. Dude, I couldn't have whipped my own ass at that point. I was so wasted.
Or wiped it.
2 big ass bottles of Wild Irish Rose or Mad Dog. I can't remember which one it was.
I remember, so I would have been like 13 years old. And my mom would always keep Boone's Farm. If you don't know what Boone's Farm is, I don't even know if it's wine. It's in a wine
They
bottle.
call it bum wine, is what they call it.
But it's like fluorescent colored. It looks really
Was it the blue
pretty.
one?
It was the blue one.
It was the blue one.
Of
course
the blue
it was.
one.
Man, do you know
that
how
was
many?
So good.
I've seen so many redneck bitches getting tired on that.
Okay, so my mom used to keep that in the refrigerator, and I would be like, nobody's ever gonna know. And like, I would get home before anybody else. So every day, which is horrible, but every day I'd go in there and I'd just take a little bit out of the cap. Like, I could have probably poured myself like...
A little bit out of the cap?
Yeah, I would literally...
What's the point of that?
I know, I would pour a cap. because listen, I already knew that my mom was very hyper vigilant about these things because I have a sibling who is on the complete opposite spectrum of me, who just wowed out. So like I knew I had to be really smart about it, you know. But yeah, and I really thought, man, until I got
That's
a little
some
older.
crackhead shit.
Yeah.
Great video by Internet Historian. Glad we got to check this one out. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and we will see you in the next one.
See ya.
Bye.